Well, I've done it. I've finally gone to the dark side. Some people are gonna hate me for this video, but let me explain. It's about to get real. As a YouTube content creator, I get emails every single week from these Chinese companies offering the same exact deal. They'll give me one of these cheap e-bikes back here in exchange for a video review. And I always turn them down. I say, no, that's not the type of bike I represent on my channel. It's not the type of bike you bring out on single track trails. It's not the type of e-bike that true mountain bikers like myself and most of my audience should be riding. But lately, my son has been asking me for a more commuter style e-bike. And after looking into it, I thought, you know, it might be kind of cool. I live a short distance from work to try and save some gas money and just start riding one of these commuter style bikes to work. And if I'm gonna get one of these cheap commuter style Chinese e-bikes, may as well get one for free. And if I'm gonna get one for free, I'll do a video for you guys just being completely real and honest about what these bikes are, who these bikes are for, and how they're so much different from the normal type of electric mountain bikes you see on this channel. Cheap e-bikes, expensive e-bikes. Let's talk about the difference. You see, these are the normal type of e-bikes I review on my channel that cost anywhere from like $5,000, like this Polygon Collosus N8E. It's actually on sale right now for quite a bit cheaper than that. And even upwards of over $10,000 for this Forestal back here. Bike market's crazy right now, you guys. You can actually get that Eunorau Diode for $6,999. A lot of money, but just food for thought. Go check it out if you're interested. And if those seem like ridiculous prices to you, you're not alone. I get a lot of comments on my video about just how expensive mountain bikes are, which is why there's such a big market right now for cheaper e-bikes like these that cost anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000. And even though they're all e-bikes, don't kid yourself. These are two completely different categories of electric bikes. The Polygon Collosus N8E is an aggressive full suspension mountain bike that falls into the enduro bike category. It's got big, beefy suspension, front and rear, 160 millimeters of travel, 29-inch wheels, massive tread on there, Shimano EP8 motor, 600 peak watts of power, 85 newton meters of torque, a removable 630 watt-hour battery. Shimano XT drivetrain, cranks, dropper seat post, all the high-end fancy components that are designed for going on those gnarly single track rides. This is what we call a full size or full power e-mountain bike. So it weighs around like the 50 pound range. And this thing is designed for smashing everything on the mountain, holding up to years of abuse and aggressive enduro style riding. The Forestal Diode, on the other hand, is what we call a lightweight e-mountain bike. This thing has 170 millimeters of front and rear suspension travel on a carbon frame, fancy suspension, fancy brakes, carbon wheels. This is the bike we kind of joke that's designed for like dentists and doctors, with that price tag way up there, and even electronic shifting and dropper post. So this bike not only offers you all of the luxury you could want, but it's also designed for smashing those single track aggressive downhill trails for years and years to come. However, the thing about that lightweight diode back there is it has a much smaller 350 watt-hour battery offering only 60 newton meters of torque. But most people ride these lighter weight e-bikes like they would ride their normal mountain bike. It's just giving you a little bit of extra boost, giving you a couple more laps in, or allowing you to climb just a little bit steeper of a mountain without being fatigued. And that lighter weight of the bike is going to feel much more like a normal mountain bike bombing downhill. So that's a quick rundown on both of the expensive bikes. If you want to know more about either of those, check my channel. I got videos on each. Now let's take a look at the cheap bikes, and we'll talk a little bit more about why I've never reviewed these cheap Chinese e-bikes before and what ultimately made me change my mind. This is the Eunorau Defender full suspension e-bike that comes at a price of about $1,899 without the additional accessories that I've thrown on there. It has a 500 watt hub motor on there and an impressive range exceeding 110 miles. Plus, you can get this extra battery right here that mounts on the bike. So, man, I don't even know how, but really far. You can go really far on this thing. And you can even get a cover for like cold weather environments, because you know cold weather affects battery life, to be able to cover it up. The only thing is that cover, it doesn't fit over 2 batteries. It only fits over the stock battery that's inside the down tube already right there. The front suspension fork on this thing has 100 millimeters of travel. For the rear suspension on there, it actually has an air shock on the rear back there. If you head over and look that shock up on Amazon, it's from a company called Kind Shock, and it retails for about $85 just for that rear air shock, and it's adjustable so you can add more air pressure there to get the right sag for your weight. But I'm not sure about serviceability of this. I'm not sure if you're actually going to be able to tear that shock apart and service it. Also not sure how well that shock is going to perform over time. But you just got to keep in mind that this bike isn't designed for those rowdy, aggressive downhill trails. So I'm sure it'll feel amazing riding around on the bike paths, or, you know, commuting to work and back, and provide a little bit of extra cushion for those long distance rides. This bike features 27.5 wheels with big fat 3-inch tires on there, hydraulic brakes, not bad looking brakes actually, with 180 millimeter rotors front and rear. You got a tail light, you got a headlight, Shimano Atlas shifting, and one thing that this bike has that the 2 more expensive bikes didn't have is a thumb throttle. But you're not going to find a dropper post on these, just a quick release, so you can slam that seat down if you happen to be riding this downhill, or bring it up to the right height for that good pedaling position. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention one of the most important parts of any commuter bike, the kickstand, right? Gotta have one of those. Fancy mountain bikes like those ones over there, no kickstands. Kickstands, no bueno for downhill riding. They come open when you're smashing down through those rocky sections. They can cause you to crash. Extra things I ordered for this bike when I got it was the rack on the back for throwing a bag on there. Also comes with a mudguard already on it, and the mudguard on the front so I can try and ride this thing during the winter. Also, it came with a tailgate pad for strapping back on the tailgate of your truck. Although this bike is kind of heavy, so it'd be kind of hard for some people to lift up over their tailgate and throw it on there. So this is the cheap Chinese e-bike I got for myself to be able to commute to work. Now let's take a look at the bike I got for my son. This is the TST Defender 26-inch hardtail fat tire e-bike. This thing retails right now on sale for about $1,100, and it comes with a free rear rack and fender kit. And I like the fenders on here. They're made out of a nice thick plastic. They got good tire clearance. Oh, also those 26-inch fat tires are massive, and it says on the website they're reinforced to prevent punctures. The TST features a pseudo brushless rear hub motor equipped with high power. It's made by Bafang. This thing offers up to 1,300 peak watts of power, 85 newton meters of torque. That thing will carry you up to 28 miles per hour, and the bike is designed for a max combined rider and cargo weight of up to 500 pounds. And just like my bike, you can choose between throttle assist or pedal assist. That big old battery stored right inside this nice fat down tube right here. You grab those keys, you stick them in there, unlock it, flip that lever, you can pop the battery out, take it with you. This thing has hydraulic brakes, 180 millimeter rotors front and rear, an 80 millimeter front suspension fork up front. It's got a half twist throttle shifter on here, Shimano 7-speed drivetrain, so you're gonna have 7 different gears to be able to shift through. This bike also features headlights and tail lights. Correction, that's a headlight, but on the back, it's just got a reflector, no tail light on there. Although I bet you could get one. I bet you it comes with a kit because it's got something to hook on right there. Well, that's kind of cool actually. Look, you can hook your bag right there. You can hook a strap right there, hook straps around here. You can see more mounts on the bike right up there to mount a rack out on the front of this thing as well. But why not just use my expensive bikes to commute to work? I mean, they're gonna look better, right? But the problem with commuting with those expensive bikes is they're freaking expensive. Do you really want to have to worry about a $10,000 e-bike when you're heading into work? Are you going to lock that thing up on a bike rack outside of your work? Are you going to be that guy that lugs it over your shoulders and just carries it into the office? I'm definitely not. Those expensive e-bikes are designed specifically for mountain use only. The tires that come on those bikes are like $100 each, and they're made of really soft rubber compound that's designed for riding in the dirt. If I'm gonna take those things out and ride them on pavement, I'm gonna just be wearing through those tires, wearing through the parts, wearing through the drivetrain and other components, riding much longer miles and just riding styles that those bikes just weren't designed for, which is what leads me to getting these cheap Chinese e-bikes. But why have I never wanted to review these in the past? You see, the problem I have with these companies isn't the bikes they're offering. I think there's a market for these bikes. I think if you're looking to commute, if you're looking for a cheap way to get a bike like this, those are the type of bikes you should get. However, they're not mountain bikes. Yes, you could take them off-road. Yes, you can take them on some small mountain trails, but they're not gonna hold up to the type of riding and abuse that you're gonna get into if you go ride black diamond single track trails that I and most of the guys I ride with around here like to ride. So they're just two totally different categories. And every time these companies reach out to me, they tell me, hey, will you take our bike? Will you feature it? Will you show its off-road capability? Well, for one, a lot of these e-bikes are, class 2 and class 3 style e-bikes that are actually illegal to ride on most of your local trails, even though I probably would take them out on the trails anyways because I don't think they would do that much more abuse. But two, and most importantly, just like these e-mountain bikes, these expensive e-mountain bikes over here are not designed for riding on bike paths or commuting to work, these cheap e-bikes right here, I would not recommend to people trying to get into the sport of e-mountain biking. They're two totally different categories of bikes. One bike simply just doesn't do both, in my humble opinion. So that's why I've never reviewed these cheap Chinese e-bikes before. You probably won't see many reviews on my channel of these cheap Chinese e-bikes again, except for maybe like I'll follow up on how it's been going, commuting to work back and forth. I don't know, leave in the comment. Let me know if you guys want to see that. Let me know your thoughts. How do you feel about these cheap Chinese e-bikes over here that are flooding the market that YouTubers like myself are making videos about? How do you guys feel about the hefty price tag on these e-mountain bikes over here that, even though they've dropped quite a bit, are so ridiculously expensive that it makes people think about purchasing a cheap e-bike? If you made it this far, definitely hit that subscribe button, share this with a friend if they're looking into e-bikes, but most importantly, get stoked, go ride, and have some fun, people.